Again, thank you to the over 250 people watching. You're awesome. A fun technical note from TechnoFee. We have 0.07% of the amount of viewers as the mid-season invitational of League of Legends. Yes!
Hit the big time.
Yep. Front page, here we come!
Relevant to this game, right before we begin, at GoldenSaucerGuy on Twitter, I came in 64th, and I'm in the top 4 now. Hell of a day so far at HexTCG, hashtag Cup of Fate.
Mm-hmm. And well, the entire pairings for the round 2 aren't out of the way. Round 3, we are looking at BlackRoger versus GoldenSaucerGuy. So once again, I'll let you know that whoever wins this doubles their prize pool yet again from $250 to $500, 12 set 2 booster packs to 24, and 6 set 1 packs to 12 set 1 packs, with the potential to play for the grand prize of $500, a flight to Gen Con or Hex headquarters, 36 set 2 packs, 20 set 1 packs, and we get to say you're the winner.
Now,
It's really the most valuable part.
I'd like to point out something interesting about the two decks playing. These have been traditionally the more value-oriented, I want to get into competitive constructed decks. Both the Gore Feast, though not so much anymore with the inclusion of Mirror Knight and such cards, and the Kaldheim's popularized Dwarf Aggro deck, which really only needs Tectonic Mega Hulk.
Yeah. So BlackRoger, this is a card blocker Klondike. BlackRoger leading with that War Machinist on turn 1. Turn 2, tunneling a troop. GoldenSaucerGuy on turn 2. No plays so far, but a Ruby and a Sapphire out. Whoever wins this, we will see a Ruby Sapphire deck in the finals of the Cup of Fate. What will GoldenSaucerGuy do on turn 3? He plays out a Ruby, thinks, and passes the turn. All right, War Machinist, probably going to slam in here for 1. What does BlackRoger do? 6 cards in hand. Congratulations to Havoc for making top 4.
Decides to play more Dwarves and Robots.
More Dwarves and Robots. Plays his Charge Power, which makes War Machinist deal a ping off to GoldenSaucerGuy. Plays the Construct Foreman, which transforms the Worker Bot into a War Bot. And War Machinist is going to come on in.
Electroid may be the most expensive uncommon, but it's certainly a lot cheaper than an Angel of Dawn or a Vampire King or a Reese.
That's true. Sapphire Shard from GoldenSaucerGuy leads out with the Royal Falconer. That is a really big problem for BlackRoger's deck. Flight is only really available through the Hornet bots and the Tarot bots. Tarot bot could come out now. Hornet bot would be a little slow. And coupled with, say, a Gore Feast, this could just actually be a quick nullification, but doesn't matter. Here comes the Tarot bot. That'll get in the way of those Falconers if it is, in fact, Gore Feast that GoldenSaucerGuy is representing here. We will likely see a swing from the Warbot and the Construct Foreman at the very least, although a quick check on the Tectonic Mega Hulk's counter makes BlackRoger reconsider his decision. A lot of the troops on Gore Feast's side of the board not able to handle Crush very well. So not a whole lot of defense over there. Welcome back. I think that's JJ's back to the stream.
Yep, I'm back here. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm
Comes the Blaze Elemental.
Surprised to see no plays before turn 4 for GoldenSaucerGuy there.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. Although he is swinging here in such a manner that BlackRoger decides to throw some blocks out just in case. This will cost him a Construct Foreman and not much else. The Tarot Bolt will go to 3. Is there going to be a Crackling Bolt or some other answer here? It's another Royal Falconer. Mostly a good pull here. That means Tectonic Mega Hulk, I don't believe, surfaces this turn. And still the flight from GoldenSaucerGuy has to be an issue pressing on BlackRoger's mind. It's important for him to keep in mind that that's just a ton of damage coming through. He's got another Terrabot. He doesn't actually care about the skies. Those are locked down with mechanical dinosaur cannon firing, screeching monsters. Although he chooses to attack with the Terrabot here, maybe considering it, thinks otherwise. And the Warbot and the Electroid. Gonna swing in for 9. Maybe decides on the War Machinist.
Now, noting that BlackRoger does have 2 resources open. So he may try to represent a 2-cost answer. However, the deck list reveals what that could possibly be for.
Yeah, with 1 resource left, probably the best thing you could represent is burn there.
Wow. Let's go on Saucer Guy. We're wondering what BlackRoger's swinging in here for. This is not... Oh.
That's an interesting block.
Goes for the full on, doesn't want to take this hit on the face block. Interesting, because you'd think, was there a chance that Gorefeast was lethal past this? Maybe not. Time Ripple does come out to send a Falcon back to hand, which means the burn from Golden Saucer Guy is ineffectual, and he loses his board with the exchange of 1 Electroid for both of his Royal Falconers. This is a really bad exchange for him. He is going to need something fantastic, and no matter what he puts down onto the board, that Tectonic Mega Hulk is likely to surface next turn. Let's see if Golden Saucer Guy has it. It's another shard and a Royal Falcon.
A 4-cost Royal Falcon. Great for blocking a Terrabot. And not much else right now. So that block actually tells to me that that Golden Saucer Boy didn't actually have a Gore Feast. He had to block that. He couldn't bluff that he had a Gore Feast because he'd just, all right, I'll take some damage, pass the turn, then what?
Yeah, and this should be lethal. The Mega Hulk enters play, deals damage, and there's no way to block enough damage on that side of the board. That's 1 game in BlackRoger's favor. The aggression is too strong. It would blow people out of the water if either of these decks take down the tournament, because the heavy favorite is the 47... Well, these are one of those 47. Is the 20 or so... 27, I think it was? 16 Mono Sapphire, or the 11 Diamond Sapphire represented decks. Yes, D10 currently on the shoutcasting bench with me are Hacky Channel, Infamous Neo, Jusm Jedi, and Technophy popping in every now and then.
Dark Shadow says any board wipe is sadness. It's worth noting that a lot of decks in this tournament, probably because of the expected prevalence of Mono Sapphire, actually put Heatwave in their reserves. I think I only counted 2 decks out of the 13 or so that had Heatwave in their list at all, had it in their main deck. And Heatwave is one of those cards that if you expect a lot of aggro, a lot of Gore Feast, even the robot aggro to an extent, Heatwave is one of those cards you pack in if you're playing Ruby. Now, how many Ruby decks did we have? But even then, it hasn't been foremost in many people's minds. For this tournament, at least, for this event.
Yeah, Heatwave is usually pretty good against Mono Sapphire as well, too.
Heatwave is an incredibly strong card in the meta right now, with a lot of targets that nobody wants to see get hit by it.
Ooh, just about the end.
Yeah, we didn't see too much Heatwave action going on, but yeah, this is a matchup where it would be really good.
And I believe neither player is running it in this match.
Yeah, it does. It does appear, because we do have the deck list available to everyone. It does appear that there are no heat waves here. I say it depends on how you build your version of Gore Feast. You can definitely build it with Heat Wave in mind, to where you don't lose to it and you can actively play it easily in your deck.
The thing about Gore Feast especially is like with the Mirror Knights, assuming they don't use like a Heat Wave on a Mirror Knight alone, sometimes you can just get, oh, you Heat Waved me, I draw 3 cards. Not the end of the world. If every time my opponent played Heat Wave I drew 3 cards, I would be I would be okay with that.
That would definitely be a fine trade.
So here we go. Both players drawing their opening hands. Golden Saucer Guy will go first, and as we've said multiple times, in this kind of aggressive matchup, going first is a huge deal for both players. So we see Golden Saucer Guy lay out the Shard of Innovation. Going to choose Sapphire here. Interesting to see that as a turn 1 play. Did he mulligan? Yeah, it looks like he mulled to 6 there.
Yeah, Golden Saucer Guy mulligan.
Yeah. Here comes the War Machinist.
War Machinist coming to play again, as just the sheer number of artifacts in BlackRoger's deck means that it'll just ping damage over time and can possibly be what pushes the damage over the edge.
How much damage did War Machinist deal the last time he played it on turn 1?
It was almost 10. I mean, if you just count the pings, it was 8 or 9.
Yeah, just the pings. It was like 8 or 9.
Yeah. Sometimes that's all it takes. I've always wondered how the deck fares if you have 2 War Machinists opening hand. But in this particular case, we see how it's going to do with no Sapphire. Oh, you see, he went to click the... I'm going to use my charge power. No, you didn't play a Sapphire. You can't use that, sir. He does deal 2 pings this turn, though. The War Machinist using the charge bot and the Hornet bot construction plants as fuel for his flak cannon and shoots that off. Golden Saucer Guy now reveling on that 2 health. Thankfully, he played the Cerulean Mirror Knight the other turn, meaning the War Machinist can no longer swing in. Plays a second Cerulean Mirror Knight this turn. His mulligan to 6 might not matter if he starts drawing 100 cards. Uses Burn on a charge bot here, interestingly. Turns the Hornet bot into a 2-1.
That's an interesting decision. And
Yeah,
I can see a little bit of why. Go ahead.
I was actually going to say I'm not sure why he went for that one there, but you can go ahead.
All right. So if Golden Saucer Guy is expecting a construct form in this turn, given that there isn't a Sapphire yet, Chargebot would be the more ideal target. He's probably not going to use construct forming on his Hornet bot because it's flight. It's less damage, but it is better.
Having
Better
the
damage
evasion.
now.
One of
Yes.
4 things in the deck that deals with a flight troop if necessary. Here comes that reactor bot, which will deal 1 damage. Interestingly, like we talked about earlier, well, not interestingly, ignore me. Here comes that Hornet bot for 2 damage. It can swing over those Cerulean Mirror Knights and starts pecking away Golden Saucer Guy down to a relatively uncomfortable 15 health in this matchup. Only 3 cards in hand. Does he have a way to... A Royal Falcon after a Shard would create just a tremendous amount of card advantage for Golden Saucer Guy.
But it looks like we're in a low resource game for both sides. Golden Saucer not able to get to 4 either.
Okay, so BlackRoger still no Sapphire.
So the neat thing about Golden Saucer Guy's deck is that Tunnel Tooth can actually be one of at least 3 different things. So it's kind of has an unpredictableness.
It does, but you would have to instinctively expect it to be one of the one. You'd have to expect it to be a Mega Hulk.
No, on Golden
Golden
Saucer Guy
Saucer
side.
Guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that's true.
Saucer's Guy's got a couple reasonable things that could be there.
Could be seeing the whole hand that we can't. There's the Falcon on turn 4, double card draw on death, inspired by both of those troops, and the Poke Elemental. This likely will just go in for 3 damage. BlackRoger probably not going to throw War Machinist or Reactor Bot in front of this. Might have doesn't have the resources for a response. Is being caught on 2 resources going to cost him this game. It's hard to tell. 2 cards go to Golden Saucer Guy's hand, which more than make up for the amount of cards that he lost in the mulligan and by going first. Let's see what BlackRoger's response is. Does he draw a shard? He puts out a War Machinist and follows up with a War Machinist. Every artifact he plays does deal 3 damage here. If he does not die this turn to the Royal Falcons and a Gore Feast, it is entirely possible for him to play 2 or 3 artifacts and slam 9 damage into Golden Saucer Guy's face, taking the 64th seed out of the tournament. What a crazy turn of events that would be.
So a Stormcloud is not a Gore Feast.
Stormcloud is not a Gore Feast. Crackling Bolt will get rid of the Hornet Bot, will put a counter on the Stormcloud. When that Stormcloud pops itself, it will draw 2 cards, but it doesn't choose to do so right now. An interesting choice, although I suppose that is based on the Tectonic Mega Hulk not coming up next turn on Golden Saucer Guy's math. And it's not that he can... Oh, he does pop it. Okay.
And he does get a Thunder Puff, which has the ability to sacrifice to exhaust a troop.
Yes, which is the Stormling he wanted the most here. That protects him from the Tectonic Mega Hulk when it does surface. That is the case. I'm actually not using press to speak right now. I should be. The house was mostly silent today. Here comes a Construct Foreman, which will transform, I suppose, Reactor Bot. That is not an artifact. It does not put an artifact into play. That is not enough to push any sort of damage through. Golden Saucer Guy is sitting at 10 health. Poor BlackRoger with 3 resources. If he draws a Sapphire and has 2, like, let's say a Gearsmith, I suppose, he can play his Charge Power, that's 3 damage. He can play 2 1-cost artifacts from his hand, that's 3 more damage.
Loxon, he should exhaust Electroid here.
And then Tectonic Mega Hulk comes into play, that's 3 more damage. I guess there is potential. If Golden Saucer Guy doesn't win this turn, a Sapphire draw is still potentially game for BlackRoger.
The Golden Saucer Guy has drawn a lot of cards.
Yeah, I feel like the block there looks like it's probably going to be a Gore Feast turn.
So only 3 defenders. That's 9 damage in the air. 3. And they have to be all War Machinists.
Still a risky swing. Because that's what, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The Mega Hulk does surface next turn. I believe, even with full blocks here.
I mean, unfortunately for Golden Saucer Guy, he doesn't have the benefit of knowing what that tunneled troop is.
I mean, he kind of does, doesn't he? I think that's the only one.
Oh, no, you're right. That is the only one.
Yeah.
That just...
I looked it up a couple of times to make sure I wasn't... I was like, well, I mean, that's information available to both players. We can be... The loss of that Thunder Puff might be an issue here. That is 1 War Machinist out of the way, and Golden Saucer Guy's probably much happier with that.
Oh,
Here we start seeing the tunnels. Are these multiple Fisher Smiths? Will they punish the Tectonic Mega Hulk for swinging, or will they hit the wrong side of the board? 2 damage immediately from Tectonic Mega Hulk surfacing and the War Machinist. Will we see the Sapphire? We don't see a Sapphire from BlackRoger, so he isn't able to create more, but he does play a Tarot Bot nearly for free. That's 2 more damage to Golden Saucer Guy, leaving him on 6.
He does not decide to swing.
No swings! No swings, not even with the Tectonic Mega Hulk, leaving just the Tarot Bot back in the board, in the sky to keep the ground safe. Time Ripple from Golden Saucer Guy will send a Tectonic Mega Hulk back to hand. Maybe ill-timed, because like we've talked about before, that will just immediately surface, assuming that its tunneling reached 0. Without BlackRoger to zoom into that, I didn't do the math.
It was double Fisher Smith.
It was double Fisher Smith. What does it mean? Now, with enough on his side of the board, can Golden Saucer Guy push this damage through, even though we know BlackRoger has 3 cards in hand and 1 resource open, meaning he can really only have one thing to play here, and Golden Saucer Guy will keep that in mind. He creates the Poké Charge Elemental. He has Gore Feast in hand. This is so much damage, but can BlackRoger block enough of this to stop this from ending the game? The Mesmeric Hypnoscientist on its own needs to be stopped. The Charge Elemental needs to be stopped. That Electroid is going to need... That Electroid is going to need to get in front of something long before he blocks with other things. Otherwise, it will become unable to attack or block purely from losing that side of the board. Now, we know that this... Oh, he leaves the Cerulean Mirror Knights back. I think that might be... Well, it's probably not that big of a mistake. He's probably done the math. Here we see the burn come out of the hand that will destroy the Mesmeric Hypnoscientist instead of, say... the Royal Falconer, or...
I would think the Falconer.
Well, he's going to block... Did it matter? I mean, it kind of mattered. Without a second Flight Troop, he will take 4 now from the first Royal Falcon. Yeah, this is just the dead on board scenario. There's no way to stop the second combat phase from being lethal. Had he used it on, say, the Royal Falconer, he could have blocked twice. Nah, I don't think it changed anything.
No, he still has 3 troops up.
Still has 3 troops up. That's fair.
But a lot of cards.
One of those can't block.
Golden Saucer's hand.
Yeah, and one of those troops can't block or attack anymore. And the Falcon loses quite a bit of attack. I suppose BlackRoger will continue to be safe in this situation.
That's a lot of cards.
With 13 cards in hand and 3 resources open, a Buccaneer seals the deal here. Well, no, a Buccaneer doesn't seal the deal. Yeah, it does. Yes, it does. What am I talking about? Buccaneer seals the deal. Yes, yes, yeah. Time Ripple's enough! That's game. Takes the Terrobot back into hand. A close game, too. Between both players here, Golden Saucer Guy squeaking through on what I have to imagine is the last turn he had available before BlackRoger was able to lay out enough damage from the War Machinist. I suppose he still needed a Sapphire. We can see he's got a Shard of Innovation in his card blocker, and I bet he would have killed for that in the game.
Also of note, BlackRoger is still at 2 resources, and this game was close.
He didn't attack.
Why didn't... Golden Saucer Guy just didn't attack? The Mirror Knights could have swung there for lethal.
Maybe you just forgot.
Maybe he
totally
just
PMing
forgot.
with a burn.
Totally PMing with a burn. But then what happens when BlackRoger draws a Sapphire and verdicts it? It won't throw the game away. Like, no matter which way we look at it, it's not like BlackRoger can push 6 damage through this turn with 2 blockers on the ground. But we'll see. What would it take? It would take 1 more Construct Form in here, really, and he just doesn't have that, and it still wouldn't be like he wouldn't be able to do it. Yeah, I guess the game just ends anticlimactically a little bit later.
Still dead to the flyer there.
Golden Saucer Guy showing why he's the 64th seed in the tournament, not swinging with lethal. The Mega Hulk in hand, not on 0 tunneling. It must not have been on 0 tunneling, or BlackRoger would have played it there and swung for victory. Buccaneer knocks the...
Well, even if it's
unexpected.
Even if it's on 0, doesn't it still have to go back to your prep phase?
Well, yeah, but he could have used it last turn. He just went through his turn. The turn where he played the Construct Foreman and the Warbot and the plans. No. You can play it on main 1, JJ, if it has tunneling 0. It surfaces and has speed immediately.
I did not know that.
Yeah. But it has to be on tunneling 0, not tunneling 1, not anything like that. We can test it after if you want. That doesn't matter. These guys are going to game 3. Reminder that the winner of this match will pull down more than double of the prizes that they've currently already accrued. In fact, double the prizes plus $50 in 2-set 2-packs, if we're being exact. In the other side of the bracket, Koma and Havoc are fighting down their match. Havoc managing to clear a round before another player for the first time in Hex history.
Oh, man. We love you, Havoc.
Seraph Kaldheim, pretty much the innovator of this deck, confirming that I am right, which happens rarely. But the Mega Hulk does surface immediately when you play it with 0 tunneling. It must have been on 1 tunneling.
Some people just want to do their own science.
Must have been on side. That being said, I think the Time Ripple would have still been an option for GoldenSaucerGuy. I think he still had those resources open. Turn 1 War Machinist from BlackRoger. The most devastating turn 1 play we've seen, even more threatening than a turn 1 Ancestors Chosen has ever been in one of these Cup of Fate games. GoldenSaucerGuy leading with his shard, his dual shard, and choosing Ruby. The Shard of Innovation, not really what he wants here, especially when he knows that it's unlikely that BlackRoger's keep of 7 is going to be that slow. Here comes a Gearsmith. That's not an artifact. It will look at the top 3 cards of BlackRoger's deck, select one of those, reduce the cost of it by 1, and put it into his hand. And he has a second resource, which he uses to play a Hornetbot Plans, which are, in fact, artifacts, which will deal 1 damage to GoldenSaucerGuy. Blood is dealt. War Machinist held back from dealing a 2nd point of damage to help construct the Hornetbot, which is a long-term investment, giving up 1 point of damage now for multiple points of damage in the future.
Be very, very glad you do not have Tinkerer's robes in PvP.
There are PvE equipment that could make this an absolutely devastating deck for other players to play against. Turn 2, the Cerulean Mirror Knight hits the board. It will not stop the Hornetbot from swinging overhead for 2 health, but we have seen the kind of card control and advantage that it can create, especially if BlackRoger isn't able to answer it on his turn with a burn or a crackling bolt. Now, I say that, and things happen.
Yep,
and
just like Magic.
He uses crackling bolt right there. He has not played a shard yet. It is entirely possible that BlackRoger is missing.
But having 2 shards and both your thresholds is so much better than missing 1.
Absolutely. And getting rid of that Cerulean Mirror Knight does a whole lot of good here for BlackRoger. It means he gets in for 4 damage this turn. Brings him down to 14, knowing that most 3-drops aren't really going to affect the board at this point. Any bounce that brings the Hornet back like a Buccaneer is just going to make it deal 1 extra damage when it re-enters the board.
Turns continuing.
Turns are continuing. There is the Buccaneer. The line that I just splashed about in my head comes out. Buccaneer knocks back that Hornetbot. That will prevent a amount of damage this turn, but still 1 damage will come out from the Hornetbot. Does eat BlackRoger's turn to do this. Will we see a turn 4 Royal Falconer? Will we see a swing? No, we don't see any swings.
Another Shard of Innovation coming out from GoldenSaucerGuy. Has 4 resources, but doesn't actually have 4 resources, so another 3-drop would need to be the play here. Probably no Stormcloud because we saw the shard played, but a Tunnel Troop. This could be lots of things. This could be Fisher-Smith probably wouldn't be that card, given that there's no incentive for War Machinist or Gearsmith to attack right now. The only other troop is the Fight Hornet bot, and Fisher-Smith cannot randomly destroy a troop with flight. So either Golden Saucer Guy has view of BlackRoger's hand, or that's the Mesmeric Hypnoscientist, which can come into play in 3 turns and stop a block.
Swinging in for 2. Golden Saucer Guy lower and lower on health every single swing of this match. Electrode comes down. The big threat, the big turn 1 uncommon 3/4. The Tarot Bot with the reduced cost from before. An effective use of 2 resources. Still with 4 cards in hand, BlackRoger has an immense amount of damage on the board. If Golden Saucer Guy is unable to block next turn, he will take fatal damage. Fisher Smith surfaces and was correctly played around. And let's see what he can do with his 4 resources this turn. There's 5 damage in the sky streaming at Golden Saucer Guy's face. Looks like BlackRoger opened chat to see if there was a GG there. I thought for a second we were watching Golden Saucer Guy and he was going to open the chat up to say good game. Here comes the Royal Falconer, a huge troop in this situation, although it would have been mind-blowingly devastating for BlackRoger if this case had this Cerulean Mirror Knight on the board. All it does now is provide the chump blockers to survive a few more turns. Golden Saucer Guy really only needs a couple more turns to try to flight off his deck. We do see BlackRoger pulls that Shard of Innovation, uses it to choose a Sapphire, now has the ability to counter cards if he's brought those in out of the reserves. Plays another Tarot Bot, the skies are locked down, another damage goes through onto Golden Saucer Guy's face. He follows through with a 3rd Tarot Bot, dealing another point of damage. This is a lot of damage in the sky. He plays those in main 1 before even swinging, not wanting to lose the Hornet Bot in a block here, or the Tarot Bot losing the ability.
Ouch! And still having yet another card to burn onto the Royal Falconer.
He does use that burn. Does use that burn to take out the Royal Falcon. Royal Falconer, reducing the attack of the Royal Falcons, meaning this was nothing but a productive turn. 9 to 11 damage in the sky with 3 attackers on the ground. Golden Saucer Guy would need multiple cards here to come back from this game. This is unlikely to be a comeback.
The loss of that early Cerulean Mirror Knight, meaning that all these dead troops do not draw additional cards, which means no additional answers. It's not
BlackRoger only has 1 card left in hand. A Heat Wave wouldn't have been enough here.
There had been a heat wave many turns ago.
It could have changed the state of this game immensely. Those Tarot Bots would not be able to be played. Time Ripple will knock one of those back to hand. This is maybe another Time Ripple. Oh, it's the double Time Ripple. He survives for 1 more turn. Not going to matter, but it's kind of cool that he did, really.
But he's at 2, and all it takes is 2 artifacts. He's going to kill this Electroid, so what are the costs of those Tarot Bots? I think there's an Electroid.
They're free, yeah.
And one of those Tarot Bots cost at most 2. So War Machinist, a lowly reactor bot, not really so lowly, enabling War Machinist to explode his opponent and win game 3.
That is good game. Moving on into the final is BlackRoger, who takes down what I have to imagine has become a little bit of a fan favorite now that Golden Saucer Guy made it this far as the bottom seed coming into the tournament. Huge congratulations to him for making it this far. Huge congratulations to BlackRoger. Also, some shout-outs to Havoc, and also huge shout-outs to Coma, who's taking down Havoc right now in the other side of the bracket, maybe.
Maybe. I like this confidence.
We can't see what's going on, but fingers crossed that one of them wins the game.